Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 12 Review. An unnecessary death distracts from what's important. Although Episode 11 signaled that Yellowstone Season 5, Part 2 was turning around after a couple of poor hours, Episode 12, Counting Coup, unfortunately brings the series back down to the ground. Prior to Counting Coup, Taylor Sheridan's neo-Western drama TV show only had 3 episodes left to close out its story and conclude character arcs in a way that would satisfy us. Instead, Episode 12 did little to move the plot forward and contains a death that is unnecessary and quite disappointing. Following Sarah's shocking death in Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 11, the police question Jamie in Episode 12. They don't consider him a suspect at first, but when he has a frantic and defensive reaction to the detectives looking at Sarah's belongings, they add him to their list of suspects. Elsewhere in the hour, Rip tries to sell as much livestock as he can as the ranch is in desperate need of money. Meanwhile, Case has a memorable storyline as he continues seeking justice for his father's murder, and one beloved ranch hand sacrifices his life to save another. In a strange turn of events, another Yellowstone Season 5, Part 2 character dies in Episode 11. Colby. Carter gets stuck in a stable with a violent horse, and when Colby tries to distract the animal to save Carter, the horse attacks Colby, killing him. Carter tries to save the ranch hand by shooting the horse, but it's too late. Colby is already gone, devastating almost every character, especially Teeter, Colby's girlfriend, and Ryan, Colby's best friend. Despite the obvious heartbreak, Colby's passing isn't effective due to Part 2's previous deaths. It's also entirely unnecessary. When a TV show starts killing off characters left and right, the deaths become less impactful. John Dutton's fate in the Yellowstone Season 5, Part 2 premiere was obviously powerful as it affected every character and the show's entire story. Then Sarah's death at the end of Episode 11 was completely shocking and seemingly changed the plot for the better. But both characters' deaths then cheapen Colby's. Colby's demise also does nothing to push the story forward, making it completely avoidable. It affects Teeter, of course, but Colby's death won't influence Yellowstone Season 5's arc. Aside from Colby's death and Case's actions at the end of the hour, Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 12 is hardly memorable. Counting Coup as a whole doesn't contain much development, meaning Taylor Sheridan is wasting precious time ahead of the show's series finale. Given that only 2 episodes remain in the neo-Western drama, it needs to efficiently utilize every second to the best of its ability. But Episode 12 seemingly negates that notion by featuring forgettable and meaningless scenes. Instead of continuing the war between Beth and Jamie, they are barely seen in the episode, even though they are arguably 2 of the most important characters in the show's final story. Counting Coup doesn't present a path forward for either of them after Sarah's death. As a result, their feud is losing steam, making us lose interest in seeing what happens next to Beth and Jamie. If there is one good thing about Counting Coup, it's Case. After being the reason why his father's case was reopened in Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 11, Case continues on his warpath in Episode 12. His old military friend sends him information about Grant, the hitman Sarah hired to assassinate John, and Case tracks the man down. He jumps into the backseat of Grant's car, points a gun at his young daughter, and threatens Grant. Case leaves with no bloodshed, but he makes it very clear that he is not someone Grant wants to mess with. Case's dark side coming out at the end of Episode 12 is thrilling, to say the least. His character development in the second part of Season 5 has been quite intriguing to watch, and Case's scene with Grant will undoubtedly create excitement about what comes next for Luke Grimes' character. However, since Case essentially does nothing but traumatize two people in Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 12, the story surrounding John's death doesn't truly move forward. In the rugged heart of Montana, the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch is no stranger to tragedy. But sometimes, even in a series that thrives on violence, loss can feel more like a plot contrivance than an organic evolution of story. Season 5, Episode 12 of Yellowstone delivers just that. A death that feels not just sudden, but unearned. It's a swerve that throws the whole episode off balance and obscures the true emotional center that Taylor Sheridan has been carefully carving out all season. Let's get the death out of the way. Ryan. Yes, that Ryan, loyal, steady, often overlooked Ryan, dies in a moment that seems engineered for shock value rather than substance. In the grand scheme of the ranch's bloody history, his death barely registers on the Richter scale of Dutton carnage. But it's precisely because it feels so random that it becomes a problem. There's no build-up, no emotional arc leading us to the moment. It's not a sacrifice, it's not a betrayal. It's just a body on the ground. And that's a disservice to both the character and the story. The irony, there's so much else going on in this episode that deserves the spotlight. Let's start with John Dutton. Kevin Costner, even amid real-life headlines and behind-the-scenes tension, still manages to wear the weight of the world like a well-worn saddle. In this episode, John is pulled deeper into the political game, attending a private meeting with a group of powerful landowners who want to pull the strings behind the scenes. It's a fascinating shift. Dutton, always the reluctant king, now sitting at the table with men who view Montana as a resource to be divided and sold. John's disdain for them is palpable, but his weariness is starting to show. He spent his life defending the land, but now he's realizing he may have to burn a few bridges, and friends, to keep it. Beth is, as always, the tempest in a designer trench coat. Kelly Rayleigh continues to walk the fine line between brutal protector and self-destructive fire starter. This episode gives us a glimpse of a softer Beth, albeit for a moment, in a quiet scene with Rip on the porch. They talk about legacy, about leaving something behind. Rip, ever the grounding force, gently reminds Beth that land is one thing, but family is another. It's the kind of scene that speaks volumes, not through dialogue, but through silence. The unsaid things between them, grief, hope, fear, hang in the air like mist over the Yellowstone River. Speaking of Rip, his arc this episode is a slow burn that threatens to erupt. With the bunkhouse still in disarray from the cattle shipment gone wrong, Rip steps into a leadership role, but with heavy reluctance. His loyalty to John is unshakable, but there's a growing tension beneath his calm exterior. He knows something's coming. Maybe it's a war. Maybe it's a betrayal. Or maybe it's the knowledge that no matter how hard they fight, the ranch is slowly slipping away. Bit by bit, deal by deal, death by death. Jamie Dutton, meanwhile, is spiraling. Wes Bentley is doing some of his best work of the series here, channeling a man who is both terrified and empowered. Jamie is caught between the ghost of his father's disapproval and the intoxicating lure of power dangled by Sarah Atwood. Their scenes together are laced with seduction and suspicion. Sarah's manipulation is masterful, and Jamie, brilliant but broken, is right for the picking. Watching him try to play kingmaker while still fumbling with the crown is both thrilling and tragic. He wants to be something more than John's punching bag, but in trying to destroy the Dutton name, he might just destroy himself. And then there's Case and Monica, still navigating their grief like two travelers on opposite sides of a canyon. Their scenes this episode are beautifully restrained. Monica speaks of dreams, visions that haunt her, that she believes are warnings. Case listens, but his silence is telling. He's torn between the legacy of his family and the life he wants for his own. Their young son, Tate, has a moment of quiet strength here, offering a poignant reminder that the next generation of Duttons may carry more wisdom than their elders. All of this, every subplot, every charged interaction, deserved more room to breathe. Instead, the episode keeps cutting back to Ryan's sudden, ultimately hollow demise. It's the kind of narrative decision that feels less like storytelling and more like box ticking. Need a death to keep the stakes high? Check. Want to stir up fan outrage? Check. But in doing so, the show undercuts the genuine emotional richness that's been building all season.